EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Week 6 edition of the JAKIB Pregame Show with Dan Sileo and Zander Krause. We'll be joined by John McMullen shortly. Week 6 from the Lincoln Financial Field. Today, Big Sills, the 2-2 Philadelphia Eagles taking on the 1-4 Cleveland, the struggling Cleveland Browns. Big Sills, how you doing on this Sunday morning, my friend?
I am nervous a little bit for your guys.
Yeah.
See, because this is a get-right week for Philly. Like you said, and like we've all said all week, this is the perfect team, right? Struggling on offense. The quarterback looks like he's lost. It's a well-coached football team. However, there's injuries at every level on both sides of the football for the Browns. Again, Xander, here we are in that conversation. There's no excuses to come fumbling into this game and turn the ball over. There's no excuses not to be patient. But yet, how come I look at the – and by the way, even the guys with the money in Atlantic City and Vegas are doing this.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's a 9-point spread. Everything's set up for this team to go in there and have a great day and right the ship. They get all their guys back. Lane Johnson, they get back. On top of that, you get Devontae and you get A.J. Brown back. Now, again, A.J.'s been working, so we're going to see what kind of impact he's going to have in his first game back in over a month. But this is a get-right game, dude.
No doubt about it. Get-right game for the Philadelphia Eagles. All are healthy, Big Sills. Sidney Brown, obviously not active again today, but he's nursing his way back from that Achilles injury. But the whole 22 starters are healthy. The whole 53-man roster really is healthy, and it's not the same story, Sills, for the Browns. They released their inactives list, so it's pretty big. I mean, they're missing their two starting safeties, and it's really their top three safeties because the third guy is on IR, and I'll give you the names. Grant Delpit is out, and Ronnie Hickman is out, and then Juan Thornhill is who's on IR. So they're deep in the safety rotation, actually going to be starting former Eagle Rodney McLeod there. So a lot of injuries for the Browns that they're nursing through. We'll see. Big Sills, I want to start with the Eagles' offensive side of the ball, and what they need to do, right? A lot has been made, Big Sills, and I'm going to make this point, and I don't know how much Eagle fans are going to want to hear it, but I do think it's the truth. A lot has been made about how poorly Deshaun Watson has played, right? Coming into the year.
Yep.
Well, Deshaun Watson has 6 touchdowns and six turnovers. Jalen Hurts has 6 touchdowns and 7 turnovers. So the discrepancy there isn't as big as I think some people are making it out to be. Jalen Hurts has to step it up a notch for this Eagles team. What do you want to see from the Eagles offense today to come out and kind of get hot, stay hot, and win this football game?
You make those comparisons, though. I never looked at Jalen Hurts and Deshaun Watson's category when those two players 3 years ago were talking about what type of talent you had and who you wanted to build your football team around. That's why it's more shocking when you're turning around and you're looking at Deshaun Watson. Everyone assumed that we would get to Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans that we saw a couple of years ago. Cleveland has not seen that, okay? They have not. On the other hand, with Hurts, we've seen this now since the start of 2023, and it's now becoming habit-forming for him where we're getting week in and week out 2 turnovers a week. I mean, Xander, the numbers are not lying here. We're not talking about 4 games starting this season. It's now become an absolute trend when it comes to Jalen Hurts. You're right. We had higher expectations actually for Deshaun. And I think that's why people go, holy cow, the $230 million guaranteed. That will always be something that will hang over Deshaun Watson's head, is that he's the only guy in NFL history with a fully guaranteed contract. That's always going to be the crux of the conversation. People are always saying that this is the worst contract of all time. It's starting to look like it may exactly be. But here's what happens with a guy like Hurts. Dude, you go into this game and you fumble around in this football game and you lose it, you're going to lose not only the city and what they think of you, the national perception of what they think of you, but you're going to start losing some of the confidence in that organization. I'm telling you, man, I got asked the question earlier in the week, who has the most pressure going on in this game? Dude, when you have $230 million guaranteed, how much pressure do you actually have, Xander? The money's coming to you whether you suck or not. Right. But when you're looking at what you see with Jalen Hurts, dude, the narrative now, people are wobbling. Listen to the people all week long in the city, what they were saying about the guy. The guy looks like he's massively regressed. The guy looks like he's not the player he was in 2022. This game here, he comes out, let's play a clean game. Let's not have don't be talking about giant numbers tonight. Talk today about having a clean game, a clean process. That's what Kellen Moore constantly talks about.
Right.
That's what you need to see. Hey, look, man, 155, 160 yards passing, 100 and something rushing or 80 rushing. You have a clean game, no turnovers, they win this game easily. They start throwing the ball around the yard 30, 40 times, in my opinion, you're going to give the Browns an opportunity to win a 60-minute game.
You talk about a clean game, Big Sills. A big piece of that is none other than A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, all back out there today. How much of a boost is that going to give this off? I mean, Sills, those are the three best players in the damn football team, let alone the offensive side of the ball. How much of a boost is that going to give this Eagles offense coming into this Week 6 matchup versus the Browns?
Well, let me ask you this, Xander. If you got on an airplane and you knew there was a first-year pilot versus your old boys who flew you around and they got you where you needed to go, you're going to feel pretty more confident in the fact that you know who your pilot is, right? So when you get all the pieces to your crew back with you, you're going to feel more confident no matter what it is. If I'm a doctor, if I'm a pilot, if I'm whomever, man, you feel more comfortable with the comfortable faces. And plus, like you said, we're not talking. You know, well, these are the best players on the team. Well, dude, I mean, Lane Johnson might be the third best tackle in the game. A.J. Brown might be the third best wide receiver in the game. Devontae could be in a top 15 conversation as top wide receivers. We're not talking about just getting DeAndre Swift back. You're talking about getting a guy and guys back who are the elite of the game of football, not just on the team. Of course, that's going to be a big boost. Now, here's going to be the big issue for him. At what expense now does Dallas Goedert's workload start to diminish here because these other guys are back? I thought, personally, some of the ways that Jalen was trying to spread the ball around, I thought it made him have to go. But after listening to him in a press conference going, I'm not real comfortable and confident, and I'm paraphrasing that, with the other guys like Paris Campbell and those dudes, I mean, this is going to be a boost for him mentally. This is a boost for him, Xander, more so than anything else because he gets comfort zone back and he gets familiar faces back.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely going to be huge for Jalen Hurts to get those guys back. Big Sills, the other big part of this game plan for the Eagles offense, they're going up against Jim Schwartz. Heavy pressure defense, going to stick to that man-to-man coverage. He's going to bring the heat on Jalen Hurts a lot today. How do they kind of, what do you expect to see from Jim Schwartz's defense? And then on the flip side, how do you expect the Eagles to kind of go up against that and really have success versus really a good defense?
Look for a post-snap coverage changes. That's where I think they're going to try to confuse Hurts when it comes to his progressions. The two things that I would say that you attack are blitzing and also coverages and design coverages and disguise coverages in the secondary. Jim Schwartz is brilliant at this. Last year, he was the NFL Assistant Coach of the Year. He had the number one defense in the NFL. I think that offense has put them in some poor positions, the Cleveland Browns. So some of those numbers, Xander, if you break down some of those numbers, they're not really where they're supposed to be in some aspects, but that's because the offense has put them in bad position, bad field position. They're a good unit. They've got some injuries, but still, at every level, they've got a good front four. Their linebacking core is great. Obviously, Myles Garrett's been nicked up. However, he's playing. Their secondary is pretty good. Plus, they know what they're doing. I'll give you a comparison. He is in the same room as Todd Bowles, which means that this is going to be an interesting dissect for Jalen Hurts to go into this football game to try to find out where his landmarks are going to be and if he can get through his progressions, because Schwartz is going to design things. We're not talking about just a novice here. We're not talking about even Vic. He is one of the elite, if not the elite, defensive coordinators in the NFL. Vic's a fine coordinator, been in the sport, but look at the resume. Guy's a former head coach. Guy's got a Super Bowl champion. He's had the number one defense in the National Football League. All things pretty much that Vic Fangio's never had. So this is going to be quite a challenge going into this game. Now, I brought this up to you last week on a National Football Show. Xander, you got a really good defense versus a really good offense, and you got a really poor offense in the Cleveland Browns versus a poor Eagles defense. Who you taking the lesser of the
Yep.
evils here? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this could
Yep.
come down to coaching, and this could also come down to the turnovers, because turnovers, in my opinion, are going to play a factor in this game. Look, the Eagles should win this game handily, okay? But we haven't seen them win a game handily in when? A year and a half?
Since week 3 of last year.
Week 3, that's right, of last year's the last time they had a comfortable win. You know, even if you want to go back to the Dolphin game, I thought that
I think that was it. I think that was it, the week 3 game.
Yeah, the Dolphin game was a comfortable win. That's the last time I remember them having a comfortable win.
Yep, no doubt. Big Sills, what's the role? By the way, that Jim Short Super Bowl Sills mentioned right here in Philadelphia, everybody. I'm sure everybody knows that. Both coaches in Cleveland today, Jim Schwartz and Kevin Stefanski, have heavy ties to Philadelphia. Kevin Stefanski, graduate of St. Joe's Prep, my alma mater here in the city. So he grew up in the area as well. So they all know Philly very well, and they'll be back today. Big Sills, the role for Saquon Barkley today, does it diminish with guys like AJ and Devontae coming back? Or is this a game, with this defense, do you want to double down on the run game and go to Saquon a lot? I'm looking to give away a Saquon Barkley jersey today, Big Sills. Will I be doing it after the game?
It's a great question, because are they going to want to get pass happy because they're getting their guys back? Or are they going to want to do the right thing by establishing
2 starting safeties out as well?
Yeah. Dude, to me, the formula is Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley running the ball, loosening up that defense, creating a little more space, and then having AJ and Devontae take that team apart in the second half. Dude, I don't want to get in 3 and outs in the first quarter and give hope. What you don't want to do, Xander, when you're in a boxing match, why would a knockout puncher want to go into being a guy who's just going to sit there and spar? The Eagles used to be a knockout team. Now they're trying to spar with partners and getting into the ring here with these guys instead of just knocking guys out like they used to knock people out with the run game. They've gotten away from their identity a little bit, and that's being a physical team at the point of attack. Look, the best part of that team is not the wide receivers. The best part of that team is the offensive line. And when you put a guy like Barkley back there, Xander, why wouldn't I go to my freaking strengths? And the strongest thing that my quarterback does is being able to get in the RPOs. But you're going away by saying, no, our wide receivers are the strength of our team. They're not. The strength of the Eagles is point of attack, run the ball hard. Dude, the reason that you're 2-2 right now is because of Saquon Barkley. It's not because of Jalen Hurts.
That's accurate. 100%. No doubt. We'll see what they're going to do in the run game today coming into this game. Big Sills, Jalen Hurts. He struggled. He struggled. He's had a tough time getting going this year. This is a tough team, I think, to go up against to kind of find your rhythm. I know we're all talking about it as a get-right game. I think that's a tough test for Jalen as a get-right game with Jim Schwartz, this Browns defense. I know they have some people out, but pretty good defense over there. What do you want to see from Jalen Hurts today? Kind of work into this game slowly. What do you think about Jalen Hurts coming into this game?
I'm not going to sit here and break my arm off here, patting myself on the back here, but I thought this would wobble out of the gate, and I said it would because of the new coordinator and a lot of the new things that they were asking him to look at and do. Look, you're also adding the component now of setting protections too. There are so many different things that he's being asked technically to do as a starting quarterback. Why do you think he's struggling when it comes to his play so far? And I wouldn't necessarily say struggling. I would say wobbling, because he has looked good in moments in the game, but it's been wobbling. Actually, he's wobbled probably since the start of last year, where he's never really played a 4-quarter football game. I can't remember the last time Hurts has played a 4-quarter football game. And so for him to get into a game like this, look, they've stopped a lot of the motion. Now, is that because of the 2 receivers being out and they're going to add that back into the mix? Because now these guys, okay, so now we're going to look at probably a little more motion today, probably a little bit lesser on the carries for Saquon Barkley. Are you still going to implement Goddard? Are you still going to go down through your progressions? Xander, I'm telling you, when I watch him play, and I watch that kid Milroe play at Alabama, I see the same guy. They look like the same player to me. And I think Milroe is a pretty good quarterback down at Alabama, and I think he's a little bit more accurate. But
You're right.
But the one thing that those two guys do struggle with is hitting the wide open guys. I mean, hitting the wide open dudes, those guys have a problem. And to me, I don't think he is as accurate as people think he is. So it's going to be interesting today to see how Schwartz comes at him, the blitzing, how well they pick that up. He is such a great coach. And to see if Jalen Hurts can go through his progressions, that's going to be on display today. Remember something here. Every NFL football game, don't ever walk into it going, this thing's going to be a layup. I know it's 9 points, and you should win this game handily. There's no reason that you shouldn't win this game handily. But the Eagles don't have a championship football team right now. You don't have a championship defense. There's no way anyone's going to try to convince me that that's not a bottom 5 or bottom 10 defense that you have there in Philadelphia. You can't have superstar talent on offense and turn around and tell me you're going to win a Super Bowl with a bottom 10 defense.
Good stuff, everyone. By the way, I want to thank everybody for being here today. One more question I have for Big Sills on the Eagles offense. Then we're going to talk about the Eagles defense. And then coming up in about 10 to 12 minutes, we'll be joined by John McMullen, who is live from Lincoln Financial Field. We'll get the sights and sounds of the stadium before the game from Johnny Mack. So he'll join us in a little bit. I do want to thank everybody for being here. Yale Roth, what's up, brother John? M. Reyes, Big Sills, look at M. Reyes. F it, this game is a layup. M. Reyes, you're turning on us at the last second, M. Reyes. He's been saying 52-3 all week, and now he's going, this is a layup. Appreciate everybody being here from JAKIB Nation. Hit that like button if you guys are enjoying the show, and if you're new here, drop us a subscribe on the channel. We cover the Eagles all day long, Monday through Friday, and then obviously have our game day shows here on game days. Big Sills, last question for the Eagles offensive side of the ball. Browns have injuries, yes. You know who will be on the field? That's Myles Garrett and also Zadarius Smith, but namely Myles Garrett. How do you mitigate him, Sills? He's a dude that, I think Jordan Mailata was asked about him earlier in the week, and he called it a horror show. That's how good Myles Garrett is. How do you neutralize him to take him out of the Browns' game plan and kind of beat them up in the other areas of their defense?
He reminds me a lot of DeMarcus Ware and how that player was able to have that kind of size and that kind of impact at the edge. And he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Make no mistake about it. However, how do you mitigate him? You have two of the top 7 tackles in the entire league, Jordan Mailata and with Lane Johnson. I'll tell you this, though. We're going to find out a little bit about Lane here because I got to say this to you, man. And I know probably people don't want to hear this, but, 2022 Lane and 2024 Lane before he went out, I don't know. I started seeing a little bit where it wasn't the same guy that I saw in 2022. I don't think he's the same player. Now, look, his
34, Big Sills.
His 95%, okay, or his 90%, Zander, is better than the entire league. So, we're talking about a guy in a drop-off versus the rest of the league. He's still miles ahead of everyone else. But you're looking at a guy who was the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year. You're talking about a coordinator who was the NFL Assistant Coach of the Year. You're talking about a pretty good test coming up here. And to me, they're probably going to move him around between Mailata and with Lane. That's what they're going to do, try to find mismatches. Anybody who puts, and I know my friend John McMullen loves Michael Parsons. Anybody who puts Michael Parsons in that guy's league is insane. That guy plays the run well. He plays the pass well. He can drop in coverage, and he surely gets around that horn, man. He is without a doubt one of the top 3 defensive players in the National Football League, and he's paid handsomely for it. But I'll tell you what, that's going to be one of the key matchups going into this game is watching how they move Myles Garrett around.
No doubt. He is a dominant force, Myles Garrett, probably one of maybe the best defensive player in the league and has been for years now. So definitely going to be a tough matchup for the Eagles to take him out of the game. And Big Sills, you brought up Lane Johnson. He is 34 years old now. So he's getting up there. 34, he's getting further away from that 30 number now, getting closer to the 40 number.
Still a great player. Still a great player.
Even in Lane's prime, Myles Garrett will give anyone fits.
Yes.
He'll give anybody fits. He is that good of a player. That's why you heard Jordan Mailata call him a horror show. So no doubt about it. Big Sills, let's move to the defensive side of the ball before we get Johnny Mack here in a couple minutes. Browns offense coming in. Deshaun Watson took 7 sacks last week. He's got 26 sacks in 5 games. They're the only offense in the league to have 0 300-yard games. Deshaun Watson has yet to throw for more than 200 yards, and they're averaging 16 points a game. This offense is measly, Big Sills. The Eagles defense, just don't let them get going. I mean, just don't let them get going. What's your recipe today as a defensive player? By the way, Big Sills, a national champion on the 1987 Miami Hurricanes, a starter defensive tackle on that football team. Defensively, Sills, how are you approaching this game if you're the Eagles?
You've got to look at the most important thing that's stopping that Cleveland Brown offense right now. They have no run attack. They can't help him. And he's not seeing the field, and he's not seeing the secondary. He's not looking downfield. He's feeling the pressure. It's almost like the pocket presence has just evaporated from his time when he was in Houston. He used to stand so tall in that pocket when he was in Houston, but they had a form of a run game going for him. They don't have anything going, and without Chubb back there, they're very mediocre in them running the football. So for them, personally, this is a get-right game for him. Why? Well, the scheme that Vic plays, you're 10 yards off the ball. You're going to be able to give Judy and Amari Cooper the opportunity to get open just in space alone. Okay? They play too high safety. Now, Zander, if this guy's overthrowing passes and he can't find a wide receiver in this offense, Sam Howell tore this defense apart.
True,
if
man.
This guy can't find it, this is going to be a moment where Kevin Stefanski, the 2-time NFL Coach of the Year, you got to start contemplating yanking this guy and putting someone in that gives you an opportunity to win. You see a little bit of that going on in Indianapolis right now with Shane Steichen and Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's not giving that team a chance to win. So what do? They put in Joe Flacco. Flacco gave them more of an opportunity to win. You've got too good a roster. I think the Browns have a good roster. I just don't think they have a good quarterback right now, and they don't have a good run game. This is a get-right game for them because I would say this to you: who's going to cover the tight end? They've got one of the better tight ends in the National Football League. Who's covering that? And by the way, those 2 defensive tackles, I thought you would have the advantage in that Buck game with the rookie that they had starting at the center, the kid from Duke, and the 2 guards. The Buccaneers owned him. They knocked him off the ball and drove him into the ground. You should have the advantage here. There's injuries in that Cleveland Brown offensive line. Let me say this, Zander. If those 2 defensive tackles don't show up today, it's a 60-minute ball game because those linebackers are going to get knocked off the ball. Those linebackers are not going to be able to play. And once again, let's make sure we circle N'Kobe Jimmy Dean. This guy's just not a good football player. This guy's pork sausage. He's just a guy out there, man. I mean, he can't cover. The Browns have a chance today to make this game a very interesting ball game. You have the talent to do it. The quarterback is just sucking out loud right now, and it looks like the team has not quit on the coach, Zander, but it looks like to me that the team right now, or the team has quit on the quarterback.
No doubt. Big Sills, I got to show you a picture, all right? And I want you to tell me how much of an impact this will have on the game. It looks like head coach Nick Sirianni has shaved the dome coming in. It's a new look, Nick. Big Sills, how much does this matter for coming into this game? Nick Sirianni got a new look. He's I got to change it up, Big Sills.
Did John McMullen do that? Did John cut? Did he go down to the Lincoln Financial and cut Nick Sirianni's hair? Holy cow. Who did that there, man? That's a new Nick look, man. Hey, coming out of a bye, Zander, you want to have a new look for your offense and your football team? Coach is working it right here, man. He wants a new look. That's going to be massive impact. I feel like I'm at a WWE event at Lincoln Financial. I'm waiting for The Rock to come out.
Yeah, great stuff. Nick Sirianni shaves the head. Let's go to our man from the stadium, Johnny Mack joining us here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. Johnny Mack, are you out there, brother?
I'm here. You got me, guys?
I got you. Look good, sound good, Johnny Mack. John, just bring us inside to the stadium real quick. What's it like out there? It's supposed to be a nice, warm day. Bring us inside the stadium, John. How is it there out there in Philly? A good Sunday for football, it looks like, from my perspective.
Yeah, beautiful day. 1:00 game, so that's a good Sunday for football no matter what. You mentioned Nick Sirianni shaving his head. That's the big self-scout, Dan. You know, Jalen Hurts, 9 straight games with turnovers. Can't score in the first quarter, shave your head. That turns it all around. I think A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson will have more to do with it. Cleveland's very banged up. Yeah, everything's set up for the Eagles. So if this is a poor performance, the Boo Birds are going to be out early.
No doubt. Johnny Mack, coming into this game, what are your keys to this game offensively for the Eagles going up against that Jim Schwartz defense? Going to be a probably heavy man-to-man, a lot of pressure coming for Jalen Hurts, but they are missing, obviously, their 2 top safeties in this game. Grant Delpit is out, and Ronnie Hickman is also out, and then their 3rd safety, Juan Thornhill, also out. So they're deep in the rotation there, but still a good defense. What are your keys for this offense, John, to get going in this football game?
Yeah, it's funny you say Jim Schwartz. It's not typically Jim Schwartz football. They're like 3rd in blitz percentage in the NFL, which kind of tells you they've been up against it from a talent standpoint. And Jim is doing stuff that he typically is not comfortable doing. Now, they're still middle of the road. I think 13th in the NFL. They still have Myles Garrett, who's been banged up, but even when he's banged up, he's better than everybody else. So he'll be out there. He's the guy you got to worry about first and foremost. But for the Eagles offense, I'm going to go Kellen Moore on you. Clean operation. Doesn't matter. Run, throw. Don't get behind the sticks. Quick start. They haven't scored in the first quarter at all in the first 4 games. They've been absolutely atrocious in the first drives. They got to get off to a better start on offense, and they should with AJ. Now you're back to what we thought they would be before the season. And what do you do with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley? Hey, first thing you don't get behind the sticks with a false start, a illegal man downfield, something like that, which has been pretty consistent. And Kellen Moore, before he talks about motion or execution even, he talks about clean operation. And they've been shooting themselves in the foot.
John, do you think because those injuries in the secondary to the Browns, do you think they come out and establish Barkley more so and trying to loosen and spreading people out so that they can really attack that secondary more so maybe in the second quarter or third quarter? Or do you think they're going to come out and they're going to be firing with their new weapons back, AJ and Devontae?
Well, I mean, they do it without them, so I think they're going to do it with them. I think that was a better question last game against Tampa Bay, and they still came out trying to fool people. So if they have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, I mean, that's their belief. That's their organizational belief. I think it's the correct belief. You throw to get the lead in the modern NFL, then you run to finish games. That's what the Eagles want to be. And that's what they envision somewhere down the road. But look, when AJ's on the field, you see the difference when this offense, when he's on the field versus when he's not on the field. He's the Eagles' best player. I'm not going to use him as a decoy, with all due respect to Saquon Barkley.
But John, don't you agree that that's how you create 3 and outs? If you're inconsistent in the beginning of the game and you're not getting the football to these guys, worst thing you could do is put your defense back on the football field. He's having 3 and outs with that style because, again, these 2 guys, what's his name? AJ's been out a month. Devontae's been out 2 games or so. And now you're going to go throwing the ball with the opportunity potentially to have 3 and outs and put your defense in a bad position. That's how you turn it into a 60-minute ball game.
But, if you go back to the 4 games individually, again, it's been the penalties more than run versus pass. In Green Bay, the one exception, the first play was a run. But the field was crappy and Saquon slipped and lost 5 yards. They're behind the sticks. Then they had the one game where they got the first down was Grant Calcaterra with a 15-yard throw. And then the next play was a 7-yard throw to Britton Covey, but that was backed up by an illegal man downfield play, wiped out, backed up. So it's been about getting behind the sticks. It's been about penalties. It's not been run or pass. If you look at the first two plays in Tampa, Jalen Hurts had Saquon Barkley extended on the first play, wasn't able to spot him until it was too late. Second play was a run to Barkley that was didn't gain a yard. So all of a sudden you're third and long. So it hasn't been run versus pass as much as execution and getting behind the sticks.
No doubt, Johnny Mac coming into this game. What about Jalen Hurts coming into this game? A lot has been made about the turnovers and his somewhat regression in play. How does he get back on track? Obviously going to be easier for him today with his top targets out there, but what do you want to see from Jalen Hurts coming into this game?
I want to see good decision making, and I want to see quicker decision making. You know, whether you look at Pro Football Focus says he's the slowest to deliver the football this season. Next Gen Stats says Purdy takes a little bit more time. Sam Darnold, but he's still number 3 as far as the slowest quarterbacks, and he doesn't play a traditional play action offense like those two guys play. So he's not getting the ball quickly out of his hands. And if you look at Jalen Hurts in 2021, Jalen Hurts in 2023, and Jalen Hurts this season, bottom 5 when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to getting the football out of his hands. In 2022, he was 17. He's never going to be number 1 as far as getting rid of the ball. But if he can get back to being middle of the pack, and I think it was 2.78 seconds versus 3.1 this year, I think you'll see a much more effective Jalen Hurts.
And I mean, John, again, that was an offense. I think one of the things that we look at, because I brought this up this week on the show, 21, 23, and 24, as you said, John, those are all conventional drop back offenses per se. And the 22 offense was RPO driven and heavy RPO. It was one of the only offenses that didn't really have a lot of drop back in it. It was more of an RPO. And I think that's one of the reasons why the turnovers were low, is because it was decision making, John. When Jalen Hurts makes quick decisions, he turns the ball over less. That's what we're talking with those numbers. And as you said, those numbers are now trend. So when he has to sit back in that pocket, it's more of an opportunity to turn the football over because of the high turnover opportunities and the plays that they're designing for him. So he's, like you said, he's got to get that ball out quick today. He gets that ball out quick. And, I think the most important thing you said was play a clean game. Play a clean game today.
Yeah. Since the start of the 23 season, no quarterback has turned over the football more than Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's got to stop. That's got to stop. And when you look at it, whether it's passing interceptions or fumbles, it's generally late in the play. It's generally the throws are too late, or, you saw the Levante David going past Jalen Hurts and then circling back to get the football out from behind. That's generally been the theme. So if he trusts what he sees, if he gets the football out on time, I think you'll see an effective game from Jalen Hurts.
John, last question for the Eagles offense. How do you slow down Myles Garrett today, John?
Well, Jordan Mailata gave me the best quote. It's a horror show when he was asked about playing against Myles Garrett. So, obviously you're going to slide protection his way. You're going to chip as much as possible, but he's going to do some things. The positive is he's banged up. He's got some foot issues. He's got some Achilles problems as well. So he's not at 100%. That helps a little bit. And Lane Johnson, we were talking about feet this year because he was talking about toe spacers. I don't want to get in that conversation, but Lane told me, it sucks to play football when your feet hurt. And Dan could probably speak about that. And his feet hurt. So hopefully, he's not the horror show Myles Garrett. He's just really good Myles Garrett.
Hey,
We'll say, John.
Hey, John, when
John,
we talk about Jim Schwartz, is there any animosity in any way? What's the relationship with Jim and the organization? I know they called it a retirement, and I know Jim did too. He took a year off and then came back to Cleveland, and last year was the assistant coach of the year. He was never in the conversation to be the head coach. I don't believe he was interviewed after Doug ended up getting fired. In your opinion, what's the relationship? I'm not trying to make anything of anything here. I'm just asking because I wonder, some coaches like to go back and beat coaches and organizations that they were once had great success at. What is his relationship with the Eagles?
Well, number one, Jim retired for a couple of weeks, not a year, and he went down to Tennessee. So, no, everybody loves Jim Schwartz here. He saw the writing on the wall. He's just a really smart guy. He knew Doug wasn't probably going to be back, and he tried to get out before it happened, and he did. And he came back to Tennessee as a senior defensive assistant about a month or two later. So he never really retired. Technically, he retired from here. He knew what was coming, and he didn't want to be a part of it. And, he's a great defensive coordinator, one of the best in football. The Browns had the number one defense in the NFL last season, for people that don't know. And not only was it number one last season, it was the best defense in the NFL since 2014 from a statistical standpoint. So everybody loves him here. Everybody, Jordan, I was talking about Jordan Mailata was talking about him. Anybody was here. Darius Slay was talking about him. And Darius has known him since Detroit. Just really well-respected guy.
John, I want to ask you about this Eagles defense and how they come into this game. Let me read off a couple stats to you, though, that are just mind-blowing about this Browns offense. They have 0 300 yards games this year. The only offense in the league has yet to put 300 yards on the board. Deshaun Watson, 7 sacks last week and 26 now in 5 games. He is yet to throw for 200 yards in a game, and they are averaging a measly 16 points per game. John, those are putrid offensive numbers. All the Eagles have to do in this game is just don't let them get going. What's the game plan if you're the Eagles defense coming into this one?
Yeah, I think, the Eagles are lucking into a good spot from a defensive perspective because obviously they're going to try some new things. Cooper DeJean expected to be the nickel corner today. But there's only so many personnel changes you can make. And the bottom line is the guys that are out there have to perform better. I think it starts with tackling, number one. They missed 15 tackles in Tampa Bay. And obviously, if you think about that from that perspective, if you cut that down to 7 or 8, cut it in half, you're probably not talking about how bad the defense was. So if you can correct something as simple as that, you're going to look a lot better. But at the bottom line, whether it's Bryce Huff or Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis or Nakobe Dean or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, they got to play better. All of them got to play better.
John, are we going to see Trotter today?
No, other than, injury-wise. If Nakobe's healthy, he's going to be the middle linebacker. And if he gets banged up, then Trot is likely next man up. But I wouldn't even sleep on Ben Van Sumeren. So, he's a backup and he's the next man up. But there's no thought of going away from Nakobe Dean yet, at least.
How about Isaiah Rodgers? Will we have a little more reps out of him? Do you think he gets more playing time today? Because
No, same thing. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell's actually played well. Darius
I agree.
Darius Slay's played, is their best corner for the people who don't like him still. Yeah, they're not sitting those guys for Isaiah Rodgers.
No doubt. Johnny Mac, will the Nick Sirianni buzz cut make a difference for this football team? Will they come out? Will they get back on track today, Johnny Mac?
I think it's Nick's buzz cut and Grant Calcaterra's mustache. I think that's what you got to lean on. No, I would say clean game. If they play a clean game, the only way Cleveland's going to be able to beat them is to win the turnover ratio like 3-4 to 1. And, they're just not equipped offensively right now. And the Eagles are lucking out from the perspective that Nick Chubb is supposed to return next week. So that's a big part of why Cleveland has struggled as well. And there's going to be no Nick Chubb. They're banged up. No reason this defense shouldn't at least put together a competent game.
Bryce Huff sighting?
Well, I've seen him, but I don't know if he's going to do it.
So he's there. He's there, right? Okay.
I don't know if you're going to know that after the game, but he is here.
Johnny Mac, you gave your prediction on Friday's Birds 365. Any changes to your prediction coming into this game before I let you go?
No, about what I expected injury-wise. As you mentioned, the safeties are the biggest deal for the Browns on defense. Still very, very banged up. Eagles should win this game. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than people expect, but they should win it pretty comfortably.
Good stuff, Johnny Mac. John, thanks for joining me. We'll talk to you again on the halftime show and then again on the post-game show. Enjoy the game, Johnny Mac. Get down there. Enjoy the sights and sounds.
Xander, I got one last question for John.
Go ahead,
John,
Big Sills.
how's the media meal at Lincoln Financial? Is it what would you rate the media meal compared to other places?
That's Kempski. Kempski's like 10 feet away from me. That's his domain. Like that, they always do a good job for breakfast. Problem is we don't get 1:00 games. There's a lot of hit and miss for night games.
Thank you, John. Just checking.
Good stuff, Johnny Mac. We'll talk to you again on the halftime show. All right, brother?
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, see you. Good stuff from Johnny Mac there. Here on the JAKIB Pregame Show for Week 6. Big Sills, before we get to our timeout, I am going to hit a couple super chats. But let me just show everybody one more time the greatness of Nick Sirianni and the buzz cut, which is now making the rounds around the city of Philadelphia.
If they lose, this guy's getting killed Monday.
We'll stay flexing and stepping checks. And if the Eagles win, how many fans are getting a buzz cut? The buzz cut will be all over the city of Philadelphia.
Oh my God.
Twiz, we'll see.
I know what M. Reyes is going to cut, and it won't be his hair, but go ahead, Xander.
M. Reyes is actually in his bathroom right now, buzzing his head in unison.
I don't think it's his head, but go ahead.
With the coach. Let's get to a couple super chats. Flex, and we got the yours. How many fans will get a buzz cut? Appreciate it, Flex. I would imagine M. Reyes will be the first of many to do it. Kimberly Sirico checks in. Kimberly, appreciate it. She says, I said the same thing last season about the Jets game, exposed our defense and secondary. This Browns defense can shut us down even with the injuries. Kimberly, I agree. Big Sills, your thoughts back to Kimberly.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the concern that I have. Hey, Xander, if that defense has a great day and slows down that offense, so this is going to come down to the shitty Eagle defense versus the shitty Browns offense. What a game. I'm looking at 18-15.
Oh, my God. Another barn burner. Another barn burner in Philly. John says he has his players. Now rent is due. No doubt, John. You're talking about Jalen Hurts there, getting his guys back. Definitely going to be a big one here for Jalen Hurts. Yafo Show checks in. The treacherous 3. I like it. I appreciate you being back in here, brother. He says,
first sack today? No way. No way.
Huff first sack. I'm going to go no. Yeah, no Yafo Show, man. He's now shown me that I cannot rely on him. Until he shows me it, it's like the Big Sills saying, I'm a prove it guy. I'm not a potential or a hope guy. Hey, I'm a prove it guy.
2 Bryces that sucked so far in the last 2 weeks. Bryce Harper and Bryce Huff. How
Oh,
you
man.
doing?
Bryce Harper catching a stray. He was the least of the Phillies' problems in that series, but I digress. Jason A-Team checks in, one of our JAKIB Legend members. Jason A-Team, thanks, brother. He says, let's get it, brothers. Game time. We need this game. Zander and Sills, who are your top 3 players under the radar you want to see today? Big Sills, I'll let you go first.
I want Goddard to make a play. I want Goddard to be a factor in the middle of the field. I would love to see Nakobe Dean have a good game against the tight end of the Browns. And actually Cooper DeJean. I think that's going to be a very interesting watch. Keep an eye on him to make some impact back there at that slot position. Avonte Maddox has been absolutely, and I'm going on a limb here with these guys, okay? Cooper DeJean making an impact, Dean making an impact. These guys have to, dude. It can't just be we can't just look at the defensive tackles and go, well, hey, you think these guys will make an impact? They have to make impact, Zander. We can't keep going like this. Are they going to play well today? You have to play well if you're going to beat this Browns team. So, in my opinion, I'm going to Jean, Dallas Goedert, and Nakobe Dean. Those 3 guys have to play well.
That's great 3 right there. I'll give you C.J. Gardner-Johnson as my number 1, Jason A-Team. He was a big signing in the offseason, supposed to be a big addition to the secondary. He has not played well. He must step up today, I think, for that secondary to take strides forward. Secondly, I'm going right to that defensive line. I'm going Jalen Carter. He might not be under the radar, but he is in my book. He hasn't played up to his standard, up to his level each week this year, and you saw it. When he did, what was our best game of the season defensively, Big Sills? That was versus the New Orleans Saints when Jalen Carter decided to wreck the game. So he would be my second. And then third, I'm going to go, he's not under the radar at all. But how do I go by Jalen Hurts? Right? You're getting your guys back. You're the quarterback of the football team. We go as far as you take us. He's not under the radar, but Jason, that's my third guy. Jalen Hurts got to step up today, no doubt about it. 2 more super chats before we get to our quick break, and then on the other side of the break, Big Sills and I will give our Eagles our final predictions for the game. Lucius says Philadelphia 54, Cleveland 13. Lucius, I'll meet you in the parking lot.
On paper, he's not wrong. On
54.
Well, wait a minute. I'm saying that's what you feel like. I'm not saying they're going to put 50. They're going to put a 50 burger on him. But Zander, your talent versus them at home, you got all your pieces. I mean, dude, that's what it feels like. I'm not saying they're going to, but I don't feel that way.
No doubt. Brian Pumper checks in. Appreciate it, Brian. He says, sorry, no optimism. I'm calling a Jalen Hurts butt fumble.
He's been Sileo-wise, Brian Pumper.
He's more than Sileo-wise. We're going to have to change that to Brian Pumperized. He says, I'm calling Jalen Hurts butt fumble today. I'm afraid this organization will embarrass my fandom today. 34-17 Brownies. Wow.
The Mark Sanchez famous butt fumble is what we have now.
And Reyes checks in. Brian Pumper, don't be fickle. We have bald Sirianni. It's not even bald. If he was going to do it, he should have went bald. It's like a buzz. It's a buzz cut for Sirianni.
Wait a minute. Is the bald haircut supposed to be a symbol of new start and a clean start? Is that what that thing is supposed to be?
I think this is what the flowers bloomed into.
Look at everybody looking at him like
they bloomed into the buzz cut for Nick.
Look at the people in the background
too, isn't he?
Yeah, look at the people. Too much pasta vazul. Look at the people in the background looking at him like he's like an idiot.
What the hell did this guy do?
Cow. There's your boy, M. Reyes. You know what? That's right. You know what he looks like? That's right. He looks like the guy from Taxi Driver in the movie when De Niro played him and he shot the guy. You
know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to go contrary on the Nick Buzzcut. I like it, Big Sills.
Ugh.
The dude hasn't done anything that worked. He looked in the mirror this morning and said, I need to gas up the city of Philadelphia. He took the Clippers out. So, do you know what I love about this Buzzcut? Sills, that's not a barbershop buzz cut. That's not even a Great Clips or a hair cuttery buzz cut. That's a bathroom this morning.
Bob Lang did that
out from Walmart, and
Bob Lang
himself.
He walked in there and Bob Lang cut it. That's what he did.
He did
Bob
it
Lang
himself.
cut
Maybe he
that
did, right. Maybe he did it at the facility, and Bobby Lang gave him a hand like he does with everything else. But appreciate it, everybody. We're going to get to our commercial break. We'll come back and put our predictions on the show. One more super here. No Hurts, probably going to have 4 or 5 turnovers. John, don't say that. I'm holding out hope for this game. Eagles are going to get the win. By the way, appreciate everybody being here. JAKIB Nation's been absolutely crushing it here on the JAKIB Pregame Show right now, all throughout the week on the Birds 365 and the National Football Show. So thank you guys. Hit that like button. We'll be back, and Big Sills and I will give our final Eagles-Browns Week 6 predictions coming up next on the JAKIB Pregame Show.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Week 6 edition of the JAKIB Pregame Show. Preparing now for Eagles versus Browns today, 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff. It's going to be close to 80 degrees. Big Sills at Lincoln Financial Field. Browns are 1-4. Eagles are 2-2, coming off a bye week, looking to get back in the win column after a brutal loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week number 4. Big Sills, I got a couple questions left for you before we wrap this sucker up. And they're all prediction related. I want you, before I get your prediction on the game, though, I'd like you to give me, I need one guy, one key player for the Eagles on both sides of the ball. And you kind of tipped your hand with our question from Jason A-Team. But one key player that needs to step up. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball today.
Absolutely, it's got to be the quarterback. I mean, Jalen Hurts. And by the way, I don't care what kind of star talent you have now on that football team. It hasn't mattered in the last year in 4 games, no matter if you have them or no matter if you do have them. Last year during the nuclear meltdown, you had pretty much all the players that were on the team. And by the way, just a little side note, I watched DeAndre Swift today against the Jags. He murdered them today, and he was electric. So don't say you have an upgrade here a little bit in Barkley. That kid looks awful good right now in Chicago. So you had as much star talent as you did a year ago. When you went down that stretch and you crapped an egg, looking at where they are now, the inconsistency that they've had coming out of the gate, Jalen Hurts has to play a clean game. You know, Xander, I'm not looking for 350 yards passing. This guy could do this in this game today. 200 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, 1 touchdown and 2 turnovers, and still win the game. This is not an elite football team. But
So
you have to
2 turnovers. I
Yeah.
don't want to see 2 turnovers.
Well, you don't want to see 2 turnovers? Well, unfortunately, in the last 22 games, he has 27. So you're going to see a turnover, dude. I mean, those are trends, Xander, unless they do something unconventional, which is run the ball more, and you see 38 carries. Xander, if they do 38 carries, they blow the Browns out. They blow them out, but they're not going to go down that route, in my opinion. Jalen Hurts has got to play great. And on the other side, dude, Bryce Huff has to show up. I mean, they have to get a pass rush. If they don't get a pass rush, you give the opportunity of Deshaun Watson to get going. You cannot not have pressure on him. You cannot not have pressure on him, dude. You can't.
Look at this, Big Cells. Look at this.
Jarrell, that is unbelievable.
Jarrell Ray comes in with a dagger. Jarrell says, I'm done with the slander on my football team.
Look at this. He drops a C note.
Jarrell Ray saying, he says, I got 100 on the Eagles in case against anyone that doubts this is how much confidence I have in our birds. Sills eating crow.
I've never seen a red one.
Fly, Eagles fly. Hurts season starts today. 37-14.
I've never seen that. Have you ever seen a red one? Look at that, man. He drops a C note. This guy's so confident, he dropped a C note just now.
Unbelievable. Jarrell, thank you, brother, for the support of the channel.
Cool you,
Jarrell, I think they are going to win today. I'm with you.
Yeah.
We'll see. I know you're feeling good, Jarrell. I know you're feeling good about the quarterback and everybody. We'll see how he comes out and does, man. But thank you so much for supporting the channel like that. U.S. Navy. So one of our, I believe you're a veteran. So Jarrell, thank you for your service, man. We love you, brother. We appreciate your support of the channel as always. So great stuff there from Jarrell, though, man. He dropped. That's how confident he is, Big Cells. He drops 100 burger.
I might have to give him a Army-Navy football for that. Okay?
Ooh,
I have one right over here. I may have to give you an Army-Navy football for that.
Yeah,
That's
Jarrell's a great guy. I follow Jarrell on Twitter. We go back and forth. So he's a great dude. Jarrell, appreciate it, man. Great stuff. Couple more supers we'll get to before I wrap this sucker up. Kimberly checks in. When we got killed by the Jets, it was against Zach Wilson. Watson may show up. It's a good point. Big Sills has been talking about that.
Don't let him get going, dude. You have the defensive scheme to get his ass going. This is not what you want.
Yep. Just 14 minutes out or so from game time, everybody. G.I. Jane, LMAO. I think he's talking about Nick Sirianni. And then one off-topic super chat here from Windy City. He says, hey, Sills, you get nervous about painting those nails if Caleb throws 30 touchdowns?
Dude, he's looking good the last 3 weeks. Hey, Windy City, man. And then they ended up getting DeAndre Swift going today. Swift looks sensational. DJ,
yeah, but you said he wasn't. You said Barkley's no upgrade. That was an asinine comment.
Hey, wait a minute. Well, I'll tell you what. You know, right now they're going to be 4-2 on the season. And get this: if he wins, he'll be 3-2 on it. Do you know that the Bears are 4-2 now? The Bears are 4-2.
Yeah, they look good.
Okay,
Caleb's coming around. He's looking good. You're right.
He's been
by the way, Jarrell,
upgrade.
big shout out to Jarrell. He's 18 years of service, 2 still to go. Jarrell, you are the man, brother. That is great stuff.
Dude,
Appreciate
that's awesome, man.
And appreciate your service to this nation.
Absolutely.
Talking sports without people like you. So thank you guys so much. And for any veteran in the chat, we thank all of you guys or any service member in our chat.
You know, that $100 goes a long way, doesn't it, Jarrell, in the commissary? Okay, I get it, dude. Goes a long way in that commissary. I've been to a military commissary. Buy a pack of cigarettes for $1.
Good stuff, Big Sales. Big Sales, final prediction here coming into this game, brother.
I think this thing's going to be a little rocky getting out of the gate here for them. And I think they're going to get it together maybe in the second quarter here. But I'm still not convinced on that defense on the other side of the ball. I think you're going to see a little bit more consistency coming from the offense as the game goes on. I still suspect about that defense. I got a tight one, man. 24-21. I've got the Eagles winning this football game. But this thing will be a 60-minute football game. And if they're smart in the fourth quarter, they keep Nick Sirianni next to Dom, and they run the ball, and they run the clock out, and they win this game and get out and they start creating some momentum as they go along in the calendar and on the schedule.
Good stuff there from Big Sills. 24-21 prediction. I'm going to stick with my prediction I made on the shows this week. I feel the same today as I did on the Friday shows of Birds 365 and the National Football Show. I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning this football game 24-17. Browns offense, I'm not buying. They haven't scored more than 18 points yet in the game. I don't believe they're going to break that trend today. That's why I have them at 17. Eagles offense, getting some key guys back. I'm not sure they're going to be in rhythm enough. Remember, A.J. Brown's a great player. He also hasn't played now in 4 weeks. Is there going to be any rust he has to shake off a little bit to get back in the game speed? I have 24-17. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this football game.
By the way, if you want to bet some money, I am, because I see Des the Joe. He brings that up. Hey, I'll take the 9 in Cleveland. If you want to go points, I will take the Browns in that. And dude, you can't give an NFL team 10 points. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take the points and the Browns.
Yeah, I don't love that spread. If I was betting on betus.com today or at Live Casino Philadelphia, I would not be taking the Eagles on the spread. At least you could take a money line, which is probably not great odds, but that's a big spread to me, man, for an NFL game, especially for a team that hasn't beat a team by double digits in how many games? A long time now. So no doubt about it. But anyway, thank you, everybody.
And the deal breaker is Sirianni with the buzz cut.
Dude, look at this thing. Sills, the more I look at this, the more I love it, Big Sills. The more I love it. Sirianni showing out, baby. He's like, I need a change. You can tell. It's like
he looks like Stone Cold, man. Doesn't he? Stone Cold Sirianni.
Dude, he woke up disgruntled this morning and is like, I need an effing win today. And he just took the razor to the head, man. You can tell it's one of those buzz cuts. So I'm loving it with Nick Sirianni. Great stuff. By the way, big thanks to all of our viewers today. JAKIB Nation showing out strong. If you didn't know, I did release the JAKIB merch line. So go check out jakibsports.com to check out the merch. We had a bunch of people order over the weekend. I was super thankful of you guys for doing that. You guys seem to like it. Any feedback, just drop me an email, Zander@jakibmedia.com, and I will get back to you. Appreciate everybody for doing it and for checking it out. Good stuff today, and big thanks to our super chats today. Jarrell Ray with $100 on this football team. Jarrell, can't thank you enough, brother. Kimberly drops a super. Wendy, Pin, John, Brian, Lucius, David Mac Perez, our jersey winner, our Saquon Barkley jersey winner from week 3, I believe it was, checks in. Flexing and Stepping, Jason A-Team, Yafasho, and Kimberly. So appreciate all of you guys. Big Sills, great show, man. Catch you on the postgame show. All right, brother?
You got it, brother.
All right, thanks, everybody. Hit that like button on your way out, and I'll catch you on the halftime show with Johnny Mack, and then with Big Sills right back here on the postgame show. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES, Eagles.